Howdy, folks. I'm Nim Jickles, and this is the Ain't That a Bitch podcast, episode 2, second official episode. I'm joined here today with Sean.
Hello.
Sean Higgerud. Am I saying that right?
Close enough.
All right, close enough. So he's here today in lieu of Aiden because he's taking his laptop into the shop, so fuck him. We're going to keep going without him anyways. And so we have Sean here as replacement broadcast as well as our special guest appearance. All right, Sean, this is your chance. Go ahead. You can introduce yourself and plug any social media or anything that you would like people to know about you.
I guess, hello, I'm Sean. I don't know. I'm not that interesting of a person.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
That leaves me in the top spot.
Yeah.
All right, great. Glad we got that out of the way.
Okay, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah. So for sure. So those of you who have listened to the first episode, you'll have recognized, and just by the title of this podcast, it's this is a rather negative show. There's a lot. It's just basically, since it is the manifestation of my constant internal monologue, it's just a constant stream of anger and sad and cry. So I thought that today, to mix it up, we're gonna switch it up a bit and start off with some good news that I recently discovered while browsing the internet. How did I don't remember at all how I found this, but somehow going down the rabbit hole of the internet, I discovered that they're making a Magic Treehouse movie.
Oh.
Yeah, you know the Magic Treehouse series? Yeah. Okay, everyone does, except Andre, for some reason. I think I was actually in Spanish class when I found this out, because, what else are you going to do in Spanish class other than browse the internet for... But, so, I think it's Lionsgate got the rights to make, from Random House, to make a movie of the Magic Treehouse series. But this was in, 2016, so, I have no idea when they're actually going to get around to making it. But I want to see this so bad now. Magic Treehouse series, if any of you are out there are like Andres and don't know what it is, fuck you. It's absolutely fantastic. That's the entirety of my childhood is right there. Almost everything I learned so much from that I didn't actually learn. Okay, do you remember the one where they're on the submarine?
I actually don't. I've read, almost all of them. I have not read all of them.
Bro, there's so many. She's just keeps writing. My other question is, when they gotta make this movie, because when is Mary Pope Osborne gonna die? She's 90 or something.
Is she?
I don't know. She looks. Have you seen her pictures on the books though? Her hair is completely white. She's so old.
Yeah.
I swear, she's gonna keel over and die at any point. So they gotta just hurry up and make the movie. But she wrote so many of those books. But there's the one where they're on the submarine, and it's that's the first time I ever heard of a submarine. So, and so when they describe it as a large metal bubble, that was very confusing to me. And then when Jack finds the ship's log, he finds the submarine's log, right?
Yeah.
Obviously a log book,
yeah.
Right? But it's a digital log, and he's Jack activated the log and found the ship's log and found all the information about what happened. And that's how they found out that the submarine had a leak in it. And they were 30,000 feet below sea level and just found out that there was a fucking leak on the submarine. But I was the entire time I was how the fuck did Jack access audio files on a log? Because I just saw the wood. I just saw a tree trunk in the submarine. Because I had no idea what a log was at the time. It was the first time I heard the word log. The first time I heard the word medallion in the first one, when Annie keeps saying, "It's a medal," and Jack's "Fuck you, it's a medallion." Those characters are the best. Oh my god. I listened to the audiobooks was the first thing. They had audiobooks at the library that I used to go to when I was in the States. We would just put those on. Dude, CDs. They still use CDs at that time, man. And I played it on there was literally we had a CD player exclusively for playing CDs, and I would go to sleep with the sound of Jack and Annie screwing around and dying every night. But fuck, man. The third one, The Mummies in the Morning, that scared the shit out of me.
Oh yeah.
Right? That was a
definitely remember.
nightmare. My God. Okay, and in the audiobook, the whole thing is read by Mary Pope Osborne. The whole thing is read by this old grandmother. And then the part where like the ghost swoops in when they're in the pyramid, she's going, woo! And like, and this like 6-year-old me is like, shit! Get down, Jack! You're gonna get fucked up!
No, I read the actual books.
I wasn't intellectual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like 100 on my bookshelf somewhere.
Bro, the places I lived in, we didn't have like a room big enough to fit books and physical books in until we moved to Canada. Apartment gang.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually have to like see that. But apparently it's like when they're grown up or something, and it's something to do with Camelot and shit. Dude, that's the first time I even heard about like the King Arthur legend with Camelot, and she made Morgan Le Fay like the good guy, and I was very confused when I found out that she was totally like a bad bitch in every other version of that story.
Yeah, I definitely think Magic Tree House has also helped me with like geography. Like, you know, they go to Africa.
Yeah.
I didn't know what Africa was. I was a dumb shit. Like,
It's actually fact. Remember the bitch turned herself into a mouse?
I don't remember that.
Bro, there was a whole mouse series of that. It's like, okay, I think there's the first four. The first four books were like just Jack and Annie, right?
Yeah.
Just like screwing around, and they didn't know who Morgan Le Fay was, right? Okay, the first one is Dinosaurs Before Dawn.
Yeah,
right.
definitely read that.
Yeah. Annie gets Jack up in the middle of the fucking night to like go find a tree house. She probably thinks was like a storage for like cocaine or something, and
I mean, it's worth getting up in the middle of the night if it is.
yeah, I mean, what else is in the Fish Creek Woods? Pennsylvania. That was the first time I heard of Pennsylvania, and the last, as it were.
Yeah.
But so that was the dinosaurs, and like the pterodactyl or something was like it was like Morgan's pal or something. And then like the second one was the night at dawn. Bro, that was also the first time I heard a pun probably. The night at dawn, and the night obviously was like the friend. And then the third one I think was the mummies in the morning, which spooked the shit out of me. Who was the help in that?
Oh, I have no
Remember,
clue.
that was scary as hell. Like, Jack got lost in there or some shit, and like lights just started turning on, and he followed those to get out of the maze. Dude, he was literally okay. If you have to think of it in the context of like now what pyramids actually were versus like how she wrote it for a children's story, those were literally tombs. Okay, so first of all, you're in a grave,
Yep.
a giant stone grave,
Yeah.
and then he's like reading in the books like. All ancient pyramids, the ancient Egyptian pyramids were often designed as mazes to trap grave robbers. It's like, read as, these things were literally made to kill anyone who came and tried to steal shit out of them. You're intruding in here. Plus, magic is real in this world, so like, Jack could have gotten fucked up, like majorly. And that was scary as hell. But that was the third one, Mummies in the Morning, and like some spooky ghost lights were their friends. Dude, I learned about hieroglyphs in that one. The folded towel. It's the folded towel glyph. I didn't fucking know what a folded towel was. And then the fourth one was, I think, the dolphins. Dolphins at daybreak? No, pirates. The fourth one was the pirates. What was that called? Pirates Past Noon, I think.
Yeah.
Why do I know this? Why do I know these? Dude, and the fourth one, bro, the helper was Polly. It was fucking Polly the parrot saved Annie was annoying as shit, though, I gotta be honest. But so then the fifth one, I don't remember what happened in the fifth one. Fifth one, they found out, or like at the end of the fourth one or something, they finally found out about Morgan and stuff. And so that was like the first four was like a set. And then there was like,
And then that's the 100.
yeah,
Just like a bunch of random
there
shit
was
happens.
but there was like 5 or something of like them just trying to find shit that had an M in it. Like they literally just found things that started with M.
Your name isn't Andrew.
No, it's Sean.
Sean.
Mom's stupid.
Oh, okay. she thought Sean was Andre. Just big
brain individual.
big white kid, all look the same.
Yes.
To Asian mother. Yes, very cool. Except one of them's like East European and the other one's also partially East European, so
Partially.
there you go. I guess that's
Exactly.
Andre's like Russian though, so it's not really the same.
Yeah. He doesn't look East European. Like, he is blonde hair. That's not a classic.
What is Russian, honestly? Like, you would never say a Russian person was an Asian, right?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, to be honest.
No, not at all. But what continent is Russia part of?
Both.
Well, that's proof of Eurasia, of course.
Yeah.
Russia is part of Eurasia, but without like counting Eurasia as a thing, it's definitely not part of Europe. It's Asia, because Asia is the largest continent.
Yeah.
It's screwed up. It doesn't make any sense. Europeans are so white, so there's like literally no.
But the thing is, I would say Russians are also white, so like I would say they're part of Europe. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever that there's like Asia and Europe are different things. The only things, like, there's no border at all. It just kind of crosses over. There's like no sea
Yeah.
blocking it. There's literally just like a wall of like the terrorist Middle East countries that changes you from Europe to Asia. Which, kind of think of it, would probably be a pretty good reason to change continents.
Yeah.
I think most of them also got stuck with Asia, so. Asia, the discriminatory continent.
I mean.
We were talking about, so yeah, before we got interrupted by my brother, who was getting a haircut, we were talking about the Magic Tree House. Yeah, there's like a bunch of them. It made like a chant at the end. They turned into a ritualistic chant. I can't believe I remember all this, but remember the ninjas one? Ninjas at night or something? And then there was the Amazon, Afternoon on the Amazon.
Yep.
And the one on the moon, Midnight on the Moon. Bro, Midnight on the Moon was intense. That was another one where it's like those stories got dark, I'm telling you. There was one point where I started to mix Annie and Jack's name, where Jack leaps, like he moon jumps over a giant boulder. And he has to land, and he falls over when he lands. And there's literally a point where he's like, because you can't get up, because he's wearing the spacesuit, all the gear, and it's like impossible to get up. And this is real issues that like astronauts have, is they always have to like pair up and stuff when they go out. And he's literally just like thinking back to what I read in the book. It's like, I remember reading in the book, it's like, an astronaut who falls over on the moon. It's like, there's no one else out here. I'm in the vacuum of space. There's not a single person alive to help me get up. Like, he could have just laid there and died and withered away in his suit. Mary Pope Osborne, you were one dark author. But so there was that, and there was like a few others. And there was the Ice Age one.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and so basically it came to the end. The moon was the last one, and it came together, and they had all this crap, and they put it together, and they literally just said the names. And Cthulhu Morgan Le Fay back from mouse form. There's a mouse in every one of these stories. I think it was 5. It was Mango, Moonstone, Mammoth Bone, Mouse. It was 4. It was 4 stories. I guess she likes to do groups of 4. It's like how Sean learned to multiply to 64 is by Minecraft.
Exactly.
Groups of 8.
Okay.
Easy.
No, but honestly, Minecraft has taught me like
the 8 times tables. Yeah, exactly.
Like, everything like.
And like, I didn't even notice that. You actually showed me that, because like, of course, okay, it's like 8 times 8 is 64. But then what's a stack of like eggs or snowballs?
16.
Which is 8 times 2. It's like
8 times 4. You said 16 times 2 equals 64.
No. 8 times 2 is 16.
Oh, yeah.
And then 8 times 8 is 64.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they were both multiples of 8. Like, that's crazy. I always knew like 16 is like a quarter of a stack of 64. It's like nuts.
Yeah. And then I remember, like, you would go even further, like, the biggest brain individuals, like,
of course.
Grade 8, these, like, 8-year-olds would be able to figure out that, like, 2 stacks was, 128, and then, like...
Who even counts past a stack, though? Whenever, in Minecraft, you're just like, I have 2 stacks of this.
Yeah.
Stack and a half. I can't believe the game Minecraft has made a stack into, like, a literal unit of measurement.
Yeah.
Like, who wouldn't say now because of Minecraft, if I ever had 64 or something, I would absolutely say I have a stack of this. I would. There's no other way to describe it. Or like 32 even. I would be like, I have a half a stack. I have a half a stack of my math average.
Well, that's better than my math average, to be perfectly honest.
Wow, facts. You're not even an IB, Sean.
I'm not.
How is this possible?
Retarded. It's pretty simple, to be honest.
I would explain it.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, where were we going with this? Magic Tree House movies.
Yeah.
I literally have like so many things I still remember about that just like stuck in my brain to the point where like even now it's like if I were to hear that again, I would immediately have a PTSD flashback to it. And what's great is that the memory of it is literally me like laying in my bed staring up into the darkness at the ceiling because that was all from like the audiobooks that it hammered into my brain. Like the books were great. No shit. I read like the books, of course, but when you hear something, I found it like really sticks in your mind. So
Yeah, I remember my dad used to read the books to me.
yeah,
So I would also be staring at the ceiling.
of course, like you do.
You know, at 8:30 at night, which is pretty late for 6-year-old me.
Honestly, like if you scaled up like a 7 or 8-year-old, you could probably like that made them look like an adult, but they had the brain of a 7 or 8-year-old when they're getting read to. Like when someone's reading a story to them, you could probably mistake them for like having dementia or like being retarded. We just stare.
They'd be better than the average driver, is what I've noticed as well.
Oh yeah, They have more IQ than the average driver on the road. But like we just stare at things. Whenever you know the moments when you got your dad reading to you, because it was always that you just like stare at the wall.
Yeah. Or
incessantly.
Yeah.
What do we think about? Do our minds just shut off?
I think so.
We enter another dimension, the story realm.
Yeah, those are good times.
Yeah, no kidding. My dad read a big ass book to me and my brother when we were kids. It was called like the Epic or something of Eric, and it was like one of those classic Viking tales. And it was this huge book. I don't even know where he got his hands on it. I don't know where it is now. So basically what that means is all that's left of it is like my shattered memories of it, and it's a wild ride to try and remember that, because honestly the fairy tales that we have, like a lot of them that got adapted to Disney movies are way more fucked up when you actually read the stories. Like I think the Snow White witch was the one who like had to like dance with the burning shoes or something until she died or something at the end. Like they did some fucked.
I don't know the original version of like the Snow White story. I've only heard like the original version of the Cinderella story.
Oh
where, like,
yeah,
the sisters like cut off.
Oh
their
yeah, they
toes and
straight up
heels.
like cut off their feet. Like in the movie, it just like they just try and cram their foot. And they're like, "Oh, it bounces off the glass. Shoe bounced off my toes. Hee hee, very funny."
But
And
no,
then
in the original
yeah, and the
one,
story
they
is
just got
just
a
like
knife.
chop chop. And it was the stepmom who did it, of course, because they wanted him to marry into the prince, just like circumcise their toes. But yeah, no, those are dark. The Little Mermaid fails in the end. She straight up dies. She turns into sea foam, and the witch gets to marry the dude. Honestly, a much better life lesson than like Disney just taught us, like, you know, make a deal with the devil and be pretty, and it won't matter if you're literally unable to speak. But so yeah, a lot of those stories, like those Brother Grimm stories and those Hans Christian Andersen stories, are dark as fuck. But the real ones is when you get out of like the like Western Europe and you start getting into like the German fairy tales, and then even more so with these Norse stories. Like the Norse mythology is like, if you you know, Skyrim is where it's at if you want to learn about Norse mythology, of course, or like read the Magnus Chase books. But if you ever actually read like the actual stories, it's pretty twisted stuff. So like this story it was about Eric, because every Viking ever was named Eric.
Yeah.
And he goes on this voyage to find like the horizon, basically, like, because, you know, the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. So he was basically going to sail west, which is like the idea of how the U.S. was found, is everyone's always moving west. He's going to sail west until he found the end of the earth, right?
Yeah.
So Eric was the first flat earther, and he took his crew of, you know, Argonauts and shit. Not actually, but they went on this ship, and they were basically going to sail to the end of the earth. And so it's the classic like myth format of like, they get on a boat, they have a destination, and they run into a shit ton of like problems along the way. But like, I forgot so much of that book. It was huge, but like the stuff I remember is fucked up as hell. Like to read to a 7-year-old kid, what was my dad thinking? Like there's basically a part where I'm pretty sure the embodiment of death captures them, and like they get taken off their ship, and when the guy wakes up, basically all his crewmates and him are just piled up in a massive pile of naked human bodies. Like, it's one of those things that's like totally normal if you're a Viking back in, millennia ago. It's just like, oh yeah, and then they were removed. They lost their things, their food, their clothes, and everything, just all the basic things. And it's like, oh no, that sucks because you're cold because you lost the shirt on your back. But like now, if you read that to a kid, that's not what it means. It's just a pile of naked men. It's an entire mountain of them. And not to mention, the person they were captured by was like a witch or something. I don't remember. There may have been two characters. There may have just been one who was death and like the witch. And she had like this comb made of human finger bones or something. And it was just, it probably scarred me for life. I don't even remember it. And then, of course, the whole thing culminates in a game of chess between Death and Eric. Like you do when you're a Viking. It's the Viking way. Intellectuals they were, for sure.
I actually didn't. My dad never read anything too scarring to me. I think I was fortunate.
Oh yeah.
My dad read The Hobbit to me.
Whoa.
A
Sean,
classic.
I'm so sheltered.
No, but I still have like PTSD from something from my childhood.
Probably Gollum. Yeah, probably The Hobbit. That's pretty messed up too.
Well, no, like The Hobbit's just like the Lord of the Rings, but it's so censored that nothing ever happens.
That's true. Hobbit, I did read The Hobbit, and like it's pretty entertaining. Like it's definitely a step above like the Harry Potter books or something if you were wanting to compare it to like another really well-known series, because like Tolkien definitely was more of like an intellectual when he wrote. He wasn't really writing to entertain like kids. He was writing because he was an absolute psychopath who just invents languages on the fly. But then like I'm like, okay, so this is interesting at least, right? Things happen. It's a simple adventure story. It's a little short man and a wizard and a bunch of slightly taller short men, and they're going to get gold and kill a dragon. It's like, okay, yeah, classic fairy tale stuff. And then I was like, okay, so the next step is, of course, to read The Lord of the Rings. And I got like 2 chapters into it, and I just put the book down and put it away for 3 years. It's just it's impossible to get through. I finally got through the first Lord of the Rings, and they're good books. Like, I have to be able to appreciate that it's good writing, but they're just so hard to get through. The English language that he uses is just at a level that I'm not yet ready for. I got through the first one finally, and then I was like, okay, time to start the second one. Again, put it down. It's been like 3 years. I'm going to start it at some point, but like, remember when you used to do those reading tests in like 2nd grade or something?
Yeah.
It's like, you're reading level Z. That means you're reading at an 8th grade level. You're a genius destined for greatness. That's before we realized that there was like Asians in the world. Or in my case, like 100% Asians.
Yeah.
They must have been reading at reading level like 11th grade. What would...
I don't think I'd like discovered Asians until grade 4. Yeah, I was pretty culturally insensitive.
Dang. I mean, to be fair, I hardly knew they existed, and I am one of them, partially. To be fair, that was probably my early schooling in the U.S., where there's just like, where I was living in like a small town, Nowheresville in Michigan, where there's definitely not any Asians who want to like go there because they're just too much of intellectuals. This is what happens when you get anywhere in life now. You just find more Asians. Like,
yeah, it's like the best way to ruin your dreams is to pick a goal. Like you have to pick a good goal, and then
your goal in life, what you want to achieve.
Yeah, and then you have to type that into YouTube, and then add done by a 5-year-old Chinese girl.
Exactly.
And perfect way to get rid of all self-esteem.
Or turn off your ad blocker and click on all those little links that lead to 7-year-old Asian girl is smarter than Einstein. Which always somehow ends in a question, even though they know. It's not true. But
well, as far as we know.
Yeah, because everyone has an ad blocker, so there you go. But oh my god, yeah, it's actually insanity what is just happening now. You cannot get anywhere and do anything anymore without just being blocked by the guardians of education, which are just the Asians now. It's like talk about a hero's journey. It's like the trials to overcome. Slaughter as many Chinese people as you can. If you don't kill enough of them, they take up all the seats in the good universities.
Yeah, I remember in grade 3, I thought I was a big brain individual.
Yeah.
Because everyone else in my class was kind of stupid, to be perfectly honest.
They were kind of average, which means they were kind of retarded.
Yeah, and so then in grade 4, I moved schools, and then I met
Like you do.
Asian people, and that completely ruined all self-esteem I ever had to this day.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Apparently the same thing happened to Andre, but when he discovered Asian people, he got his first erection. There's been a real thing going on. Yeah, in Spanish class, someone has brought up that Andre is into Asians, and it's just kind of stuck like that at this point because honestly, you can't deny it.
Yeah.
It's and we don't know why, but that's evidently that is now Andre's thing, and he's pretty much stuck with that title until he can remove it somehow.
I mean, it's better than feet, at least.
I mean, Balko would argue otherwise, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
What a guy.
Apparently, this kid who, this is his final year of high school now, he still goes golfing with, Barkwell.
Bro.
Like...
You get Isaac in on that shit.
I don't think he wants to go golfing with Barkwell, though.
Could you do anything with Balkwell? I didn't realize he left the house. That's pretty amazing that he golfs, though. Do you think he secretly, like, got a Happy Gilmore trigger where, like, whenever he goes golfing, he just hulks out and rages and just smashes the ball across the universe?
Probably.
So you know a kid in high school who goes golfing with Balkwell?
Yeah.
That's pretty legendary.
Grade 9 LA teacher. This kid in high school goes golfing with him on weekends.
Shut up. Get out of here. Your phone's making noises at me. Well, that's pretty wild, actually. The only golfing I ever did was like miniature golf.
I remember I took golf lessons once, which apparently don't exist, but I still
Yeah, no, they don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the epitome of being white right there, is inventing golf lessons.
Yeah, so I took them once, even though they don't exist, and yeah, that's like the one time I've been golfing. I remember the teacher got very angry at me because he was trying to teach us.
Sean, you're not supposed to beat your teammates. There's no teams in golf. I don't know what I'm talking about.
So he was teaching us how to putt, right? And so he put like the ball down on the green, and he's like, okay, hit it into the hole, right? And so I was pretty young at the time, so like, if I just smash it, there's a good chance it ends up in the hole.
Of course.
So I like wind up with the putter, yeet it across the green, and it somehow, like, 8-year-old me somehow aimed it perfectly, and it goes in at, like, 40 miles an hour. And he's like, okay, that's a good example of what not to do.
That's classic. Clearly you didn't play enough Wii golf, because they would have taught you, they would have straightened you out right away, because whenever you hit it too hard in that, it goes like, have you ever done that in Wii golf where you hit just smash the ball and it goes wow, like your power bar just goes ooh, it like goes up, and it goes and turns red, and it's like, you fucked up.
Yeah, except with the putter, it just always goes straight, doesn't go off to the side.
I totally forgot. Yeah, I had no idea what the different clubs did in golf when I first played Wii golf, because again, that's like the only time I ever played actual golf was in the Wii. And I was like, so I realized it took me a few games as well to discover that there even was other clubs, and I was like, well, I'm going to choose the one that looks the coolest, naturally. So when you're there using, like, on your first swing, you're using, like, the closest range club, and it's going, bang! It's like, what are you trying to do? You're killing me.
Yeah, I remember, my grandma used to play Wii golf with me, like, and, she played a lot of golf in her day, being pretty white,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she actually taught me how to play Wii golf pretty well. Except for my sister, who was so fucking bad at Wii golf. Like,
I sense a trend with that with your sister.
with what?
Being fucking bad at things.
No, like, we used to do teams on Wii golf, because that apparently exists, right?
Oh, hey, I was right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, it doesn't exist in real golf.
Shut up. Give me this one, Sean.
And, so my brother and I would be on a team, and then, my sister and my grandma would be on a team. And so somehow my grandma actually managed to be good at Wii golf for like 85-year-old. And
I mean, you really only need to move like 3 joints. It's just kind of like a rotation thing.
but she has arthritis in all of those joints.
Honestly, she could probably replace her hip with just like a swivel. Like you could just put like a little. She could turn into a cyborg, and all she does is swivel her hip left and right, and she could be like the best golf player ever. It's all in the hip, sonny. Jesus.
Hit the mic. Yeah, so she would hit it really well, and then it would be my sister's turn to hit it, and she would be on the green, like maybe 5 feet away from the hole.
Yeah.
And my sister would pull out like a 9-iron and just fucking smack it as hard as she could.
I mean, when you don't... Golf really didn't make sense as a Wii Sports game, because, like, what kid even understands that? I mean, I can't have been the only one who just saw, like, that massive golf course that they laid out and digitized for you and be like, I bet I can get the ball to go in the river. Or, like, let's see if I can hit that tree over there. Like, I had no idea. It's fun. It's just...
Yeah, I was actually very excited. Several years ago, my copy of Wii Sports broke, because, it doesn't come in that proper disc case.
That's right, yeah.
So we used to just have this bin where we would toss all the discs in, right? But they were all in their
Like a
case.
trash.
Basically. They were all in their case, right? So it was never a problem until one day Wii Sports ended up on the bottom. And because it's in that little cardboard thing, you got a proper plastic case. The disc snapped in half.
Oh, Jesus. That's a tragedy.
It is. But
So you got another one?
yeah, 5 days ago, for this being recorded, I bought a used copy on eBay.
Bro.
And it arrived 5 days ago, which was 2 days before it was supposed to arrive.
Does it have all their scores on it?
No, it's just your scores are saved on
Oh,
the
that's
Wii.
right.
Yeah.
Dang, that's pretty epic. Who would ever sell like that game? Honestly?
I don't know. There's this guy from Regina who has like 10 copies of them.
Probably.
No, that's actually what
Oh,
the
wow.
seller was on eBay.
Is that what he does? Is that like with tickets, he just like buys them and resells them or something? Like when the game first came out, he just bought... Doesn't it come with the Wii or something?
Yeah, it did.
So he just bought like 10 Wii so he could have Wii Sports?
I don't know. He's like, this game's gonna be good.
How do you get more than one of those? I guess you can buy it as well.
Yeah.
Wait, if you bought it, would it come in like the actual case?
I don't know.
Well, that's one of life's greatest mysteries. Does Wii Sports come in the case or does it always come in that sleeve? Man, well, that's sad, but at least you got another one. See, if you go see my Wii setup, it's impeccable. You got the discs in those little sleeves. You have them on the top shelf. We have a whole shelving unit, And so the bottom shelves, we have it organized of. In the way back is the games that we have finished and never want to play again,
Yeah.
And then on like the side is the games that we haven't finished and probably won't ever finish. But like if we're out of stuff to do, then we'll go and like finish those games. Amongst them, standouts like Lego Lord of the Rings and Cars Mater National. The golden ones. And then in the middle you have, or like right at the front and center, you got the ones that either we haven't finished and want to finish, or that like you just never get enough of. So the classics like Wii Fit, Wii Music, Beatles Rock Band, Jumpstart Pet Rescue. Boy, that was a fun one. Man, you can't imagine. You would go around this little world and you would solve educational riddles and you would unlock pets. Yep.
Did you ever play Pokepark for the Wii?
I didn't have like any Pokemon games forever. I was so sad about that. Like I didn't play any of the good like Nintendo games. Like I didn't get Smash or Mario Kart. I have the Wii Mario Kart, but I didn't have like a DS with good DS games. I had a DSi.
I had a DSi at
Oh, yo. What? Well,
like for some reason my brother and I got a DSi at Cell. We even have the
big dick energy.
Yeah, we have the limited edition one too.
What the hell?
But my parents just for some reason bought my sister just a regular DSi.
This is what I mean with the trend, Sean. Like, I see a repeating pattern. Also, I like how she's your twin. It's not even like a sister. Yeah. She's literally the exact same age as you, but you and your older brother got the matching ones.
Yes, like we're 2 minutes apart.
What the hell?
But yeah, there's nothing else to it.
That's
really.
actually pretty funny. Well, then at least you can probably rest assured now and like sleep soundly at night that you weren't the mistake. you weren't the unplanned one, Sean. It's okay. But that's nuts. I had like the DSi when it came out, and the games I had on it were crazy. I had Lego Batman, Lego Indiana Jones. Dude, I was so into the Lego games, and like honestly, I still am. It's like the greatest. The customizable characters.
Oh
dude.
yeah, did you play Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga?
Of course.
Yeah,
that was like the first game I ever like wanted to 100%. You know, like started me down that path. The best thing about it was like my greatest rival, the person who was always like ahead of me and had more completion in that game. Guess who? My dad. he was actually such a legend at that game, you know, grabbing the mini kits and the red bricks. That game still holds up. Like the newer Lego games have like better graphics and they started adding in like dialogue, but that game still holds up so well.
Yeah, I tried speedrunning Lego Star Wars with my sister a couple days ago. We got through like 2 levels before we both went off and like did our own thing.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, we got through those levels in like over the course of like 10 minutes. That's pretty good. Like
basically, I remember the movie so much better through the scenes broken down in their Lego levels than like actually watching the movies. Like I'll go back and watch Phantom Menace, and I won't be like, this is the epic fight where they play like, you know, with this is the epic fight with Darth Maul. I'll be like, this is that part in the Lego Star Wars game. This is that level that's like hard as shit where you have to jump on all those platforms, and when you free play it, you always free play it as Jar Jar because I swear to God, he jumps higher than the others.
He does.
He does, right? Yeah, he actually... Yeah. I knew it. I knew I wasn't crazy.
He does. It's like, his ability.
That's amazing. Like, I love that game so much for those things. And, like, and the red bricks, like, still hold up so well. The abilities, like, were so much better in that.
Oh, yeah, the unlockable thing.
Yeah, those are, like...
You should, like, turn everything into ice.
Disarm troopers. It gave all the stormtroopers and clone troopers carrots instead of guns.
Oh, I never used that.
Dude, those were so good, and you could just get straight up invincibility. And they had the Lego ghosts. You could get Ghost Obi-Wan and Ghost Yoda and Ghost Anakin. Dude, Yoda sucked though. Okay, like I would love to have played as Yoda, and then we unlocked him finally, and I bought him, and I start playing as him, and he just hobbles around like the old shit he is. He doesn't move. It's so slow. It's unbearable. Always played Grievous, of course. Grievous and like any of the bounty hunters. The bounty hunters were the best. They got bombs. What other Lego game has literally a mechanic where certain characters can just throw bombs that explode things?
The Indiana Jones one, the certain characters just have like RPGs.
Oh yeah, that's facts. To be fair, Indiana Jones, like I kind of get story-wise why you would make a Lego game out of it, but character-wise, because like to me that's always been the appeal of Lego and Lego games and like just Lego in general is the minifigures. Yeah. Because there's just so many of them. Like what characters are even in Indiana Jones? Like first of all, they're all just there's Indiana Jones, like whatever floozy has with him for that movie, and a miner, a Chinese miner, and like his grandpa, who's probably the best character because he's got the like. An umbrella that's a gun or something.
Yeah.
It's not. And then like everyone he fights is just like some basic bitch with like a pistol or something. Like the most interesting character in that was like the Indian dude with the sword or like the Arab guy. Yeah. It's not that many characters. Lego Batman now, that was actually pretty that was a pretty good Lego game as well.
And Lego Batman had the revolutionary split screen where when you got further apart.
Yeah. That's something that's underrated. I think.
Melted your Wii though, because you couldn't render that much at once.
Bro, did you ever, like Skylanders?
Oh, I played so much Skylanders.
Dude.
I remember my dad would stop at Toys R Us after work every day.
Yo, you know it, and you see
Yeah.
which new ones are out there, and like they went crazy with. They had like the legendary ones, or what was it? Legendary and mythical, the like gold and black ones.
Oh,
That was released with like the Giant series, I think.
yeah.
And then they just had like color swaps. They basically had shiny version. I have like the shiny equivalent of Ninjini. It's like called Scarlet Ninjini.
Yeah, I remember that.
How would you ever collect all of those like that? And that was original at the time. Then you got like amiibos and Disney Infinity and stuff. But like
Disney Infinity was such a scam, to
it
be
was
perfectly honest.
yeah, it was totally a ripoff. Like I never got the game, but I knew friends who had it, and it was literally just they saw Skylanders and were like, we're gonna steal that.
Like, some of the story in Disney Infinity was alright, but like, it was like, oh yeah, you can build whatever you wanted. It's like, there was a block limit of like 10, and some blocks counted
Get on
as,
my
like,
level
up to
in
5.
Minecraft. Yeah, and besides, they already have like Kingdom Hearts, which is basically the same thing with. It's like it's Star Wars. Disney Infinity is just like Kingdom Hearts with Skylanders, like,
Yeah.
basically. So, but Skylanders was great up until Giants, basically.
Giants?
Swap Force was like doable, but
Giants was 2. Swap Force was 3.
yeah,
Yeah.
So like up until Skylanders, Giants, like the first one, and then Giants, I liked.
Oh.
After that, I
Yeah, I agree with that.
I got Swap Force, but like I didn't enjoy it nearly as much. Skylanders Giants, another one of those games to me still holds up gameplay wise, but like I went back and played it just for like the nostalgia of it. The graphics are unbearably. I could not imagine how bad they were. It doesn't register when you're playing it for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you play one of those old games, like when you go back to it, it's like my memories of this were not this bad at all.
Yeah, on the Nintendo eShop, we bought a Donkey Kong emulator for a Wii, and for the original Donkey Kong. And I tried booting up this emulator on a Wii a couple days ago, and it just didn't work. It like my Wii would just kept flashing, it would display a frame. It would stop outputting a video signal. My TV would display the no video signal, and then it would output another frame, no video signal, output another frame, and it was running out a solid frame every 5 seconds. It was hilarious.
Honestly, all the problems with the Nintendo Wii were really what made it for me. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the Wii without the problems. Like.
Yeah, unless the controllers, if the controllers worked perfectly,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be any fun.
Yeah, that motion control's got to be ganky. And also the best thing was every time you want to start playing it and you have no fucking clue how to you got to go to channel 3, you got to switch to AV, you got to set all there was all this stuff that you had to do before, and it's there was
Yeah.
a gaming channel before, and now it's just you just boot it up, whatever you got, your PS4 or your Xbox. Yeah, those are the days, my man. But back to talking back to Skylanders Giants. The real reason I went back to play it was because I'll be honest, I never even beat Swap Force because I just
I never
never
finished
yeah
Swap Force.
I
It
never
was
really got
terrible.
into it.
Yeah.
I liked being able to jump, but going back to it didn't add enough to it to actually be a better game.
Yeah.
But then I was I really want to go back to Giants because even though I've beat the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the PvP in that was actually, or not really PvP, but it was a split screen, multiplayer.
You did PvP in Swap Force, and that was actually pretty
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but do you remember what to me is easily the best part of all of Skylanders Giants, and possibly I actually don't know if this was in Spyro's Adventure, but
Yeah.
Skystones. Do you remember Skystones?
No.
Bro, Skystones was the single greatest thing in probably the entire Skylanders series.
Okay.
It was literally a card game within the Skylanders game.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Right?
about.
It
Oh.
was, I completely forgot about it and then just suddenly had this flashback to it where I remembered it and it all came rushing back to me in one of those, those flashback sequences, just Sky Stones. I remembered all my victories against that dumbass pirate who kept thinking he could beat you even though
Yeah.
his deck never got any better. But actually that was so good. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Unironically, not even out of nostalgia, that was just the best mini game I've ever played within one of those games.
Yeah.
Bro, I had them Inhuman shields and like the Cyclops guy and like the what are they called? Arconans? Archaean Knights. The Archaean. Dude, that
I had so many Skylanders, and like I had so many hours in Skylanders too. Like I of course had a favorite Skylander.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like everyone. What was yours?
Whirlwind actually.
Oh.
My Whirlwind model, one of the wings is broken off. That doesn't stop me from loving it.
It makes it more special.
Because I even played enough Swap Force that my Whirlwind is level 20, which is
Yeah.
I think I don't know if Trap Team goes beyond level 20. It probably does.
I don't know. I never got it, so.
No, yeah. My uncle actually worked on Trap Team,
Whoa.
and
You told me about that once. Huh?
yeah.
Did he warn you before? I was like, I hate to tell you this, Sean, but these games are getting kind of shit.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm getting paid to do this, but honestly,
He's like, well, yeah.
I don't enjoy it.
There's a new Skylanders game coming out. This is like, I'm telling you, you get to know earlier, because when I work at Activision, you get the latest and greatest news. But it's kind of just a scam to get you to buy the stupid Pokeball ripoffs.
Bro, that's actually crazy. Your uncle works at Activision. Isn't that like Call of Duty as well?
I don't
They do?
know.
Or-
He works at EA now.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, EA actually had some like pretty good games.
Yeah.
They just didn't handle the situation well, where they just had really bad like publicity at with Battlefront 2, and then they didn't handle it well at all, where they just basically kept doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But, like tried to cover it up, which is a bad move on their part. But I legitimately enjoyed like the first Battlefront game, but even
I never played it.
Oh well, I had it, and it's fun, and again they like had a really good idea, but it was still at that point where like the multiplayer on that, you start out with like the one gun, and like you have to unlock all the rest by like putting in game hours or spending actual money on it, and it's just like nobody wants to do that. You start with like the shittiest gun.
I think in theory that's fine. Like like in a racing game, you start with like a terrible car, right?
Yeah.
And then as you progress, you get like better cars.
Sure.
I think the problem stems from being able to spend like real money.
Being able to do all those microtransactions, or else, of course, the worst part is the alternative to spending money is like putting in hundreds of hours of gameplay. Like if it's like beat a mission, if it's one of those games where like, as annoying as it kind of is, but still, if it's one of those games where it's like you beat your first match, you get like 3 achievements for that. It's like your first kill, your first match, win your first match, and you get like a new gun for each one of those. It's like, then at least you're going somewhere. But with this, it was like I played a few online multiplayer games, and it's just like, you got jack shit. You're like 1/3 of the way to level 2. And it's like, well, okay, I'm just going to go back to beating the shit out of my brother as like Han Solo. I have to tell you right now, like the best part of that game is easily like the split screen multiplayer, because you get to be whoever the hell you want. The hero battles are like by far the best thing. Is my brother and I, whenever we like throw that on, we go to indoor. Okay. There's like the indoor base, and then you do the hero battle. My brother always chooses Empire. I always choose, so I get left with Rebels, right?
Yeah.
I'm Han Solo. He's Emperor Palpatine. It's like a match made in heaven, honestly. Like, there's nothing better. Because basically, all the charm of that game is just like watching yourself fighting the other person, of like Han Solo using his shoulder charge on like the Emperor Palpatine while he like drops a health token for himself. It's just nuts, and it's like, and it's goofy, which is like why I'm able to enjoy the game. When EA starts to take itself like too seriously and legitimately expects you to like take them seriously, when they're just like, yep, if you want to like unlock level 2, you gotta pay $3. If you want to unlock character 2, you have to spend 400 hours playing the game. It's like, no, I don't know. I can't get behind that.
No, I don't have much time in any EA games, to be perfectly honest. Like I played a bit of NHL 08, but that's like the only EA game. And that's when EA was actually good.
Yeah.
So.
And then you came back and played it again every time they released a new one, because so you could get the experience of the new game.
Yeah, basically.
You just got a higher res television.
Yeah. Well, I only have 08. My grandpa gave me his Xbox. My grandpa's a very interesting person.
I think I heard something about that.
Yeah, he leaves for Thailand in 11 days for
bro.
like the five years in a row.
He's absolutely a German nuclear scientist, right?
No, he's Norwegian.
He's absolutely a Norwegian nuclear scientist,
Probably.
right? Well, there you go.
He's an interesting guy. I mean, he's a fine person. He's just interesting, I guess is the best way to put it.
Well, that's the best kind of family, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting. Good, but interesting.
Yeah. And you see all those memes about, like, it's like your grandpa telling racist jokes at the dinner
Of course,
table.
yeah. Or, like,
Yeah.
they laugh at your racist jokes.
Yeah, it became a problem when those racist jokes extended to Facebook.
Are you kidding me? That's where they go. Racist jokes on Facebook. They
No,
go
but
together.
then, yeah. I know it became a problem.
I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg was laughing along with us.
Yeah.
That's great. Facebook is kind of nuts. I don't really understand how like Zuckerberg got so rich off of that off of Facebook, because who uses it? The demographic for that is so old.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just for like boomers
It's like
to be
50
like,
and up.
haha, this car has a standard. Millennials can't drive.
No, it's honestly, I guess when it first came out, it was all that there was.
Yeah.
Of course, like it easily crushed MySpace, and then it was basically home free from there. But then, as soon as Instagram, Snapchat,
Well, Instagram's owned by Facebook.
now they are, but they weren't
Were
originally,
they?
right?
I thought they were.
Oh, were they made by Facebook?
I'm pretty sure to
I thought
appeal
they
to the
bought
younger
it.
generation.
Really? Oh, well, that would explain it. But I thought they bought it.
I don't know, to be honest.
I'm not sure. I could look that up.
Yeah. I'll look it up
You can
quick.
fact check that, but really with all the other, I mean, actually, yeah, Instagram makes a lot of sense, which I guess could basically explain all of it. Is Mark Zuckerberg either started Instagram or saw Instagram, and like even before it was as big as it was, recognized that was going to be the thing, because it definitely is, like without a doubt,
Yeah.
like say what you will, I personally prefer a lot of the more impersonal social media, like Reddit, but Instagram is definitely, I don't know, Instagram's probably leading the pack in terms of like social media, right?
Yeah, I definitely think Instagram.
I think it probably has the most users.
Yeah.
Snapchat is coming back, I guess. I thought it basically died, but then apparently it came back. All I needed was that like gender swap filter. That did it.
And the face swap.
Yeah.
Like, face swap you and your cat.
Yeah, the filters are pretty fun on that. Honestly, I don't understand what has been stopping any one of those like social media sites from literally just taking everything from from all the other ones and like conglomerating into like one super social media. Because
I mean, I don't think it would work with like Reddit and Instagram.
no, you're right, but
Like, I think like there's no reason why Instagram like could not just completely take over Snapchat.
right, yeah, Instagram, Snapchat, and like what else even is there really?
There's like Yubo.
WhatsApp. How is WhatsApp like the most downloaded app?
I don't know. I don't even know what WhatsApp is.
Right, that one I don't get even less. It was, I think, again, it's like Facebook. It's when it did come out, it was like the only one of it that there was. It's just a chat app. It's like you had your texting, and then that was the first app that was for texting.
Yeah.
Which is nice, because you can do it with an internet connection.
Well,
and
there was
you don't need a.
There was like the Windows 94 like instant messenger.
Text to speech. Yeah, of course. But yeah, from what I'm aware, WhatsApp was just the only. It was just purely for for texting. It was you could make a group chat. I guess there's that.
And then there was WeChat for the Asian version.
That came out after everything else got banned in that country. But I'm amazed. Honestly, I'm amazed that WeChat hasn't been banned in retaliation in like the U.S. at this point.
Yeah, it's made by Tencent, right?
I don't really know.
I think it is. I can also fact check that.
Okay,
And Instagram was developed by Facebook.
Okay, so that makes sense then. See, I can understand that. But yeah, the WhatsApp thing I really don't get, because now I don't know anyone who has it, but I'm sure like
It's
every
owned by Tencent.
Okay, but I'm sure like every grandparent in the world has downloaded and still has it downloaded, but then no one uses it because every social media site that comes out now has has
Yeah.
like a
It has
a direct message and a group chat function. Even Reddit has private messaging.
But I mean, yeah, you don't follow
No one
people
uses it.
on
No,
Reddit.
but you could.
I do follow one person on Reddit.
Bro, yeah.
Yeah.
WhatsApp. I don't get it. But I was going somewhere with this. Oh yeah, I think it's honestly it's only the other thing I'm surprised about WeChat is like it hasn't been banned in the U.S. and it hasn't yet been used like by the Chinese government to just like display Chinese propaganda. Like honestly, those stickers, like people go batshit crazy for those stickers. It's like a drug. I don't understand it. Like people just completely communicate via WeChat stickers at this point. Like if they're Asian and basic and And it's amazing to me because they're just made by like artists. It's like fonts, people just make them and then throw them up on there. How is the Chinese government not like paying people to like get inside of WeChat and make it so like all the sticker like packs that you can download, that like all the ones on like the front page of like whatever the sticker download thing are just like Chinese propaganda things?
I mean, I don't use WeChat, so it definitely could be like that. And I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you would never know, but honestly, that's exactly something that like the Chinese government would do. It's crazy. I talked about it a little bit, but I never really got in depth with the last time I went to China. It changes so fast there because basically they shot from a third world country to a first world country, technically a second world country. Did I tell you about like what second world is?
No, I actually don't.
I got curious and decided to do some research one day, and I found out second world countries were the like term first world and third world country was actually coined
It's during World War II, right?
during the Cold War actually.
Cold War, okay.
Wait, no, end of World War II, but it was because, can you just keep that close, please? But the terms were created to literally define countries as either first world capitalist countries, second world communist countries, or third world neither. And so it just so happened that most countries that were neither communist or capitalist were like the African states, or like really underdeveloped like Middle Eastern or Asian countries. And so that's how we got third world to mean underdeveloped. And then after the Cold War, there was basically no communist states. So second world got phased out. First world meant developed. Third world meant developing. So that's how we got to where we are now. But
well, I would say now you should use like third world as like not developed, right? So that's like
that's right, undeveloped, and then you have developing. But
and then you have developed,
right? But as it would turn out, first world just means capitalist, which is basically every developed country. But then China would have actually been a second world country, and now I mean I consider them developed, but the thing is that progression was so rapid from like the death of Mao to now has just been like, it was in such a short amount of time. People think it's crazy. Like when I was born, there weren't any iPhones, and like now we're on 10 or 11 or whatever we're on. And but the fact of it is, like in my mom's lifetime, China has gone from literally everyone wears the exact same clothes and there's no professions other than farmer and factory worker, to now they're taking every single, like their children have invaded every other country and have taken all the best universities and cannot let any white. Right, yeah, so in China itself, though, like the people who stay there are either so old they already have like are established there, or they are not educated. And so when you go there, there's billions and millions of people there, more people than anywhere else on the earth, and a shocking amount of those people are like missing limbs or like disabled in some way, and that's because they just can't leave the country. All the most educated people out of the country immediately. But what's happening there? Yeah, it's nuts. I'm lucky enough I'm able to like go back and visit my grandparents pretty much once a year, every year.
Yeah.
Which is really great, but every single time I go, it's like when I go back to the States, literally nothing changes. Like my grandma got like a new armchair and a new oven like the last time I visited. That's like the upgrading she's done. And then in China, like I went back, like my grandparents, had like 3 new apartments because they just like keep buying new apartments because real estate is just skyrocketing constantly, so they just keep buying like more property, and basically value wise they're getting richer and richer, but they haven't sold any of them yet. And we went and visited, like we go to these places that are like villages that were literally villages like 2 years ago, one of the places we went to, and now it's, while being still a village, it also has like these 4.5-star like hotels just getting thrown up, and infrastructure is just building up everywhere. It's like coastal cities that were like falling apart in like 1 year. The government came in and were just like, this sucks, fix that. There's like potholes everywhere. The like infrastructure is crumbling because you're building along like a seashore, and it's like in a year they're just up and running. Like everything is brand new and like really good, like well made and really good looking. But then other things change like super fast as well. So like, you know, if you talk about like the legal system, the way the government moves, because it's really still practically like a dictatorship.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, like the benefit of that is that shit can happen, right?
Yeah.
Shit gets done really quickly. So like if you, again, thinking about when I go back to the States, it's like, oh, they've added like, now our neighborhood has more yield signs and less stop signs. And it's like we go back to China, it's like, again, every year, I managed to get back to China every single year. The time before the last time I went to China was, it was China, and it was a place. And then the last time I went to China, it was a place, and also there was surveillance cameras on every single stoplight, which completely reduced crime, and white people were not allowed in any of the hotels by the train station. None of that was the case the last time I went, 1 year ago. In 1 year, they've managed to throw up in like even the smallest cities and towns. There's cameras everywhere, and none of that was the case before. And the hotels, they was actually a even more recent thing, which was they were, when we went there, they happened to be having like some summit meeting in Beijing.
Yeah.
And recently before that, there was like a terrorist attack on one of the train stations. And after that, they basically said the hotels like within a certain radius of train stations cannot accept foreign passports. You have to have a Chinese passport to stay there. So we literally could not find a place to sleep one night at like 11:30. We're like walking around because you know, having to take taxis further and further away from the train station just to find a place that would legally allow us to stay. Like, they're not the ones discriminating against us. They want our business.
Yeah.
They're legally stopped from allowing anyone who's not Chinese into their hotel. It's absolutely ridiculous, absolutely insane. But they don't have a lot of crime. I cannot argue with the results. You know, the fact of the matter is, it's practically dystopian at this point. But
I mean, like, who needs basic human rights when you don't have a low crime rate?
Why have freedom when you could have safety? I don't know. As a place to visit, it's really not so bad because, you know, it's kind of like when we visited Greece and like when you visited Eastern Europe or like Mediterranean countries and like underdeveloped.
The only Mediterranean country I've been to is Greece as well.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay. Well, but so you have been there and you know what it's like. It's like, to visit, it's fantastic. The food is great, the scenery is great, and then
it's all pretty cheap as well.
And everything is dirt cheap. If you live there, you know, none of that matters because the infrastructure sucks and you can't afford anything, even though it's super cheap.
Yeah. I spent about 2 weeks in Greece the time I went. We spent about a week in Athens and then a week on my family uses a lot of home away. So the first place we had was we were supposed to have this pretty bad apartment, but then the woman who owns the apartment, she accidentally double booked, so we got upgraded for free to a better apartment.
Dang, love it when that happens.
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, it was just really nice.
It's like first world problems.
Yeah,
I missed my flight, so I got upgraded to first class.
Well, I mean, it wasn't our fault. I mean, we did miss our flight to Greece. That's a different story.
I called it. But anyways.
Yeah, my dad left the headlights on the car on. And so then he calls this repair guy, and it's like 3 floors underground in this parking garage in like downtown Belgium, like downtown Brussels in Belgium. And this guy shows up in like this 18-wheeler tow truck and to try and like jumpstart it. Like there's just no hope he's getting like down to the bottom of this fucking garage. And so, yeah, what we should have done, and we tried doing this, was we should have just had like 4 out of the 5 of us take an Uber to the airport, and so that way only one person missed the flight. We did that like 5 minutes too late, and so we all missed the flight. And then we didn't get our flight upgraded. I think we were supposed to fly on I don't know what airline we were supposed to fly on. Oh no, we actually got upgraded. Sorry. We were supposed to fly on some
What do you know?
airline. I think Belgium Air or whatever it's called.
Man, when I was flying around in Europe, we were flying like EasyJet or something. It was called.
Yeah, Belgium Air is a budget airline as well.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I mean, because we missed our flight, we took a Lufthansa flight, so that was alright. And yeah, I mean, Greece was really nice, to be honest.
A fantastic place to visit for sure.
Yeah.
And like stay a week. Live there.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're
screwed.
yeah, you see a lot of people hanging around, and you're like, well, it is nice, come here for a week and get like really good food for like €2. And like these people were really realistically quite poor, and so they're giving you the best service possible
For sure.
to try and get your business.
Yeah, it feels great to be providing like a month's salary to all these people that you visit,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a crazy difference. And so the same really is for China, where it's not like their economy is terrible like that, but when you go there, like you don't feel nearly as much of the pressure of being like held accountable for everything you do as I would imagine if you live there, where it's like really if you step out of line, you get Hong Kong basically. Which essentially that was another thing that was not happening last time I visited, so that's kicked up. Yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting if I go and visit China again, I guess. I mean, it's not really affecting the mainland as nearly as much, but it is just an interesting thing to be going on just all the while. Well,
Yeah, just stay off of Reddit. I mean, it's blocked in China anyways, right?
of course, yeah. What? Nothing isn't. Really.
Yeah.
There's
like
Bing. Bing is allowed in China.
Oh.
Interestingly enough, they can force safe search on it on Bing.
Oh.
Yeah, very interesting. You can use their search engine, which is called Baidu,
Yeah.
and for that you literally have to do one of those CAPTCHA I'm not a robot tests every single time the page refreshes. So every search you make, you have to do like I'm not a robot test and like find all the things, and you can't get anywhere. It's nuts. Just use a VPN is moral of the story.
Yeah.
I don't know how people again
Surely they
live
must be-
in China.
They must be blocking some of the larger VPNs by now, right?
I would assume they're trying to get around to it, but basically the whole point of the VPNs is like every time they get updated, they're supposed to be fixing that and getting past whatever they're doing. But who knows? At some point they might be able to crack down on it and just stop them completely. But so far they've worked for us.
Yeah.
Most time, yeah. As long as you keep them up to date, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It is basically just a war of escalation where, China improves its firewalls, and then the VPNs improve their bypassing of the firewalls.
NordVPN sponsors more YouTubers.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I don't know how we got around to this. Well, we got from Magic Treehouse to this all in
China.
Yeah, to censorship in China. But yeah, it's a very, very fun topic, of course. Yeah, that's right. You reminded me of something, and I'm gonna totally take it off course now. But you were talking about your missing the flight story, and
Yeah.
and so you brought up headlights, and so you reminded me of an entirely different story to go on, which is I fucking hate as a new driver in Calgary, as a new driver in a large city, you will loathe the LED headlights.
Oh, yeah. One of my car has LED headlights. Yeah.
They are the enemy of the people.
Yeah. Like, I remember one time, we were driving back from going skiing, and so we ski out at Fernie. It's like a 3-hour drive. And so we're on Highway 522. So it's like, 1-lane highway. Yeah, small highway.
Yeah.
522. It's a big number. And so yeah, like just everybody who comes by is like flashing their brights at us to like remind us that we have our brights on. Because I mean, there's no one on the highway for the most part. But I mean, no, it's just the LED headlights.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Every single time I can't get over, or like, you know, whoever my adult is in the car with me, my mom or my dad is just like, do they have their brights on? No. It's like, are those their high beams? It's just the LEDs. It's just cancer on wheels. And it's absolutely miserable because, again, as a new driver and as it would just, you know, as the way it works out, the most of the times I'm driving, because I still only do like, you know, little trips to like the Safeway and back. But I drive whenever, you know, it happens to work out with my schedule, and that just so happens to usually be late in the evening of like, now with, you know, fall and winter setting in, it's basically dark by that point, by like 6:37. And, you know, driving at night like that, with those LEDs on, and like when you drove over here, Sean, you saw, you know what that little road is like. Like, we live in a crescent, which is, and the turn is like, you got your kind of bigger road onto a smaller road, which then curves around. So that's like 6 turns that you're making in like the span of like 20 seconds. Yeah. All of that, one person coming down with like their LEDs on, and I'm just like, fuck it. I give up. I'm just gonna floor it and let Jesus decide. Honestly, it's a nightmare. And then, like I was saying, at the Safeway, which is like, I go over there sometimes to the Safeway, but also it's just like a collection of lots with a bunch of businesses and stuff. So whenever I go down to that area, getting into that parking lot is, again, an entirely new nightmare of like, actually,
I hate parking so much, to be perfectly honest. Like, parking, and I suck at it.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, yeah, if I can get as far as parking, like, I'm just thankful, because it's actually, getting in isn't nearly so bad. Getting out of the parking lot is, though, because of the way the street works, it's like the highway of the one direction that way and the other direction, and it's like the separated highway, with the island. And so you can't just go out the way you come in other words. You have to go all the way through the parking lot and go left there and go across all the way onto the other direction, right? So big ass left turn, which is like everyone's favorite thing to do. Yeah. And so what that entails is me like crossing past a bunch of people. You know, you have to wait for everyone who's going straight. You have to wait for everyone who's turning right. And then you get to go. And then all the while you're doing that with, like, of course, asshole drivers constantly. Like, I had this one time where I was trying to go, and it was the, like, worst situation of, you know, because you can never tell. You always have to drive defensively, right? Especially as a new driver. It's like, you just let them do whatever they want. Even if you're in the right and they're, like, fucked up, you just stop.
Whenever I'm driving with my dad, and, like, I've driven enough at this point that my dad's generally just on his phone when I'm driving. Like, not, you know, not always. Like, now
Hey, he's not the one driving.
Exactly. Like, Andre's dad uses Andre as, I forget the name, but, like, when you're out at a party and you have that one person who doesn't, designated
driver, yeah.
Yeah, designated driver.
Andre, because he literally legally cannot intake alcohol, he gets to be the designated driver.
Exactly.
It's pretty true. I mean, I think it's a very good thing that we're not just gonna mention the fact that, like, you're the youngest person, like, probably the youngest out of, like, one of the youngest kids in our grade, and probably have the most driving experience.
Yeah, I have a lot of driving experience.
Yeah, for, you know, legally questionable reasons, but...
Well, I mean, I've definitely driven before I had my license.
But I mean, to be fair, you also kind of have to like.
Yeah.
You have to practice, but the thing is, I think it's because on private property, I think you can.
Yeah, on private property, like anything.
So yeah, you go to an empty parking lot, and that's the place to learn. That's what I did. My grandma would take me out to like a big stadium or something, and the parking lot was just always empty there. It's seasonal, so
Yeah, some of my family members own a farm, so I would drive a minivan up and down the driveway, which was like a kilometer long a couple times at like 8.
My cousins that I visit sometimes basically embody what to me is like the quintessential like white person learning how to be in the quote unquote real world of like basically how she learned to drive is by driving her family's like golf cart up and down the road without like a golf course nearby anywhere. It's like the neighborhood that they're in is, and my uncle is a doctor, so they live in this really lovely neighborhood with like the forest in the backyard, basically kind of thing, and pretty much everyone who lives there has like a golf cart, and they just drive that around as like their personal like buggy, and and it's just insane. Of like I go to visit them, and it's like, would you like to take the golf cart out for a spin? And it's like. And my cousin, that's basically how she's gonna learn how to drive, is like driving that around a golf cart, not on a golf course, but just around like a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah, I just learned to drive at mall parking lot, probably one of the best places to learn how to drive. With my older brother, my dad let him drive home from the registry office when he got his learners.
It's a great idea.
No, it wasn't a good idea.
No,
that's why he didn't
sure
let me do that, or my sister do that. Yeah, if you ever get rural enough, you get to those country roads that have a speed limit of 80, and these roads are fun to drive. Like, especially
I believe it.
I was driving out to this place where I played airsoft, right? And so these roads have a speed limit of 80. The shoulders are like really steep, like there's a 3-foot ditch on either side, and it's a speed limit of 80. And so on the way out there, my dad's doing like 110 around these corners with a recommended speed of 60.
Yeah,
and
as you do.
And I mean, I was a bit concerned at first, and he's like, oh, and he like clearly sees that I'm concerned. He's like, oh no, I grew up doing this.
Yeah,
it's
you
completely
get used
fine.
to it. You become numb to the G-forces.
Yeah, and I mean, so I drove on the way back from this airsoft place, and I mean, he got mad at me when I hit 120 in the 80 zone. But it's fun to drive.
I bet, yeah. See, I wish I had those experiences. Like I said, literally my experience with driving is like a 1 kilometer trip of like 18 turns. Like, how do you even manage that?
Yeah.
It's these small roads. They're just the worst things in Calgary, is trying to drive in like small neighborhoods, residential areas. It's just
yeah. But my
navigating and
I hate it how like the cars are like so tight together on those residential roads, and
when they don't have like a traffic line. But it's a two person or it's a 2-car road, and you're just expected to. And then people always park outside the front.
Yeah. So like it's so tight. I hate driving those so much.
Yeah, it's a disaster. And then, to bring it full circle, you do all that, and then someone comes out with their LED beams lasering you in the eyes. Just give up. I just give up.
Yeah. The one problem with getting better at driving is, like, when I first learned to drive, it was just around the mall parking lot. Then I started going to the grocery store and back. And, but then one time, I was basically driving way, like, across the entire city, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so, you get to take these, like, highways, right, that are in the middle of the cities, right, with, like, 5 lanes on either side. Yeah. They're just not fun to drive, to be perfectly honest.
No, yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny when you think about it, but the reality of it is people who design roads did not design it to make driving fun.
Well,
and when you put it in those terms, it kind of seems like it would be obvious. But yeah, no, driving is not like a leisure experience. You might be a NASCAR, like a race car driver, and then you do it as a sport. But driving itself is just a task. it's a chore, and it's fun when you first start doing it. But I think like at this point with your level of experience, you've gotten to the point where you found like there are situations like you said, if you get out of the city,
Yeah.
you can have fun with it. But basically anywhere you're trying to really get to in like under 40 minutes, like so within the city, it's just a task. It's a chore. It's not it's not made to be fun.
Oh, yeah, and like you have to be so remote for it to be fun. Like I went spelunking yesterday,
Whoa.
and so we were still on like one lane highways, right? And like as long as there's a line down the middle, you can't have any fun on roads. Like
That's one way to put it.
as long as the country roads, they have a speed limit of 80, right? As long as they're paved and there's no line, that means the speed limit is really whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, because there's no one out there. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like a bingo sheet. It's like whichever number that you end up getting, that's what you get to decide as your speed limit.
yeah, basically. Like, and, I found generally with it, you have those, like, signs that are the recommended speed signs. Like, depending on where you are, I find generally double those works pretty good.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, the recommended speed is like code for, if you're gonna be doing something stupid like driving drunk or something, at least follow these speed limits. So like if you do get arrested or like if you do get pulled over, you only get a ticket for one thing. But it's like otherwise you kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah, and they're mostly also for like truck drivers.
Like heavy load, wide load cars. Honestly, my favorite thing about like not even just driving myself, but just on like a road trip or something, and you're when someone else is driving, you're just watching the road.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is recognizing the parts where where the people who designed the roads were people, like where they were humans, and you can see those parts where like in their brain they did a very human thing, which is like the classic school kid thing of this technically is important and should be taken care of and like addressed, but the chances of it being necessary are so remote, I think I'll just overlook it and like call it a day. And so what I mean is like the parts of where like you're on this highway or like you're on the interstate or something.
Yeah.
And then like you turn off onto like a highway and you're just driving across countryside, like you go over the occasional hill. And basically there's almost never anyone on this, right? You can drive for miles and miles without ever coming across anyone else. But if you do, you still need to have room for like the other person to come. And so you got these lines down the middle, right? And you know what all the lines mean. You got the solid lines, which mean you can't cross, and the dotted ones, which mean you can. And then, of course, occasionally it's these kinds of roads, these huge long stretches of road where you'll get like the solid with the dotted, right?
Yeah.
Which means you can pass on one side. And so my favorite thing is seeing parts where there's like dotted on one side and it's solid on the other, and then like and then it'll turn double solid for a bit, and then like go dotted on the other side and then solid on the other, and it like switches. And like I like to think that these are points where they're thinking, it's always possible that you're gonna get right to the part where you're not allowed to like cross over, but there's like a truck coming that literally can't like fit on the road. But because it's like a country road, like what are you going to do? How are you going to stop them? And it's like at this point, this person's going to need to pass like on this side, but legally won't be allowed to do it. And then the person just thought, this is out in the middle of nowhere. It's not my problem. They're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah. What's really bad though is when people start crossing over the solid lines.
Mm-hmm.
We were driving through what's it called? Rogers Pass out in BC earlier this summer, and on the Trans-Canada. So like this is a very windy road. It's like a 30% hill, which is very steep. But it's not that steep. It's pretty steep. And
if you're like a big truck or something.
Yeah. So like it's a long hill. Like it's like 10 kilometers of like 34%. And you just get these like idiots just like, and so like we actually were delayed by about an hour because there had been a fatality on the Trans-Canada that day. But like
they were playing Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we get back on the road, and then these like they're passing on the solid lines on this road that basically follows the organic shape of a mountain.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't see.
You can't do that. No, yeah. Again, that's what I mean. Yeah, but countryside driving is really just, it's like, it's driver discretion, you know? You do whatever you want unless you crash. It's kind of like the classic saying of, you know, it's not illegal if you don't get caught. It's you can drive however you want as long as you don't crash.
Yeah. And like, so when my dad was driving out to this airsoft place, so we turned right off the main highway, and so now we're on this country road where you can go like 110, even though it's 80. And so, but there's this guy, right? It's like probably a 98 like Ram 1500, and I think he was pulling like 14 hay bales up this like massively steep hill. And so, I mean, my dad does not want to wait for this guy. So like this hill you can't see over the top at all. But I mean, there's this guy with this truck that can barely make it up this hill. So I mean, my dad passes him on a solid line, and you know, it's not really that much of a problem. Like, but yeah, it's just interesting, I guess, to say the least.
Yeah, interesting. That pretty much sums up like all of driving, all the fun situations in driving.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, that's great. Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of the Nerd Nostalgia podcast, sprinkled in with some privileged,
like an old
yeah, exactly, yeah, and like the entitled white kids who get to travel to Europe and drive podcast. So I hope you enjoyed that. Ain't that a bitch?